It's interesting you mentioned the opt outside campaign. Um, that was a pretty bold move by
Mm-hmm.
REI.
Mm-hmm.
And in the paper, you use the opt outside campaign to sort of motivate the whole paper to start the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Um, is this is this campaign what actually inspired you guys to start the project, or was there something else?
Yeah, that's really
Or was it
interesting.
really about your dad?
Yeah, a lot of my ideas are about my
Yeah.
dad. So I think that's where it helps to have other like-minded people within the department. With and if you can find projects that interest everybody,
Hmm.
it becomes a really cool and innovative idea, right? So I was always interested in this aspect of signaling,
Hmm.
right? Or again, it could be because of my background, my upbringing, that this idea that you can communicate others that you are worthy of their respect, right?
Hmm.
So my dissertation was on bragging and signaling using luxury products,
Hmm.
right? But in the back of my head, I always thought like this is a very deep-seated human motivation, right? This idea of status signaling.
Hmm.
Right? Can we use that idea for doing good, right? And the answer was okay, green consumption, right? But even when you're consuming green, when you're consuming when you're driving a Prius or a Tesla, you are still consuming, right? So uh, that made me think whether there is a way to separate this signaling motivation from actual physical stuff. And when I joined this department, uh, Kat was already working on this idea of anti-consumption and this idea of uh, demarketing brands, the brands that make this claim that we should reduce a category level consumption, and in the process they build their own brand. Um, and she was very much embedded into this whole anti-consumption uh, phenomena that was happening, right?
Hmm.
And I'm more of a theory guy, and I started talking about this with Kat, and she was like, there is this cool thing that's happening, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, right? And this was an actual phenomena playing out in the world, and we had lots of people talking about that, and we had press writing about that, and there were these sources of organic data,
Hmm.
right? And we were like, okay, we. I always think more in terms of a lab experiment, how we can test that. Uh, but uh, when Cat came up with these examples and real data that we can collect, I think that was a gold mine for us.
Yeah. So as if the your research and Kat's research sort of intersected at hashtag opt outside. Interesting. What do you mean by you use the term organic data? What do you mean by that?
So when I say organic data, it's data that's out there, right?
As
It's
opposed to
like
what?
it's like uh, those hunter gatherers instead of farmers. So if you're a farmer, you grow your own food,
Yeah.
right? But if you are, I don't know, if you're mushroom hunting, right? You can just go out and find that organically, naturally grown food, right? So when I say organic data, that's data that's already out there, that's being generated by consumers organically.
Hmm.
It's not in response to some prompt that I'm using in a lab,
Hmm.
right? Uh, and I think it's wonderful when you see your theories pan out in that kind of data that consumers organically generate.
Right. Right. So we're usually farmers, but
Yeah,
you've gone out and hunted your data down.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
I
seeing
like that
myself
too.
as a hunter.
Yeah. Yeah. And um, I can see how that would add a lot of external validity to the findings. So it makes the findings much stronger.